faz celebrar a morte de um papa?
Que é isso?
O que te faz celebrar a morte de uma rainha? Católicos, protestantes, separatistas, unionistas. Celtic. Rangers. Em uma das cidades mais tensas da Europa,
Que
não
isso, uma
existe cima do
carreirinha?
muro. E numa situação dessa, de que lado você fica? Eu cresci sempre escutando que tem 3 coisas que não se discutem na mesa: política, religião e futebol. Então eu fui até o lugar em que mais se discute política, religião e futebol. O PELEJA fez de novo.
E ele fez de novo!
Finalmente entender o ódio entre 2 povos que discordam em quase todas as coisas. O futebol é só uma delas.
No fim da década de 90, os Beast Boys, trio consagrado de hip hop, queria fazer um show
Beast
na Europa
Boys.
que ficasse pra história. Pra isso, eles escolheriam um local que combinasse com a insanidade que eles queriam passar em algumas músicas. Precisava ser um lugar com gente louca que vivia tudo à flor da pele. A cidade perfeita pra isso era Glasgow.
Dizem que os festivais lá são bons mesmo.
A Escócia, naquela época, aliás, estava em evidência. Em 1996 foi lançado o icônico filme Trainspotting, que retratava partes de Edimburgo e Glasgow de uma maneira crua, real, com aquela insanidade toda que os Beast Boys buscavam.
Who the fuck are you? Yeah!
Fechou o pau.
Uma juventude escocesa que sempre questionava o seu próprio passado, tentando imaginar como seria esse lugar no futuro.
It's shite being Scottish! With the lowest of the low!
Caralho, o
The
Bill tá
scum of the
puto.
fucking earth! The most wretched, miserable, servile, pathetic trash that was ever shot into civilization! Some people hate the English, I don't! They're just wankers! We, on the other hand, are colonized by wankers! Can't even find a decent culture to be colonized by!
Pô, pior que a Escócia parece maneira, velho.
Chegando em Glasgow, dá pra perceber de cara que não é a cidade mais turística da Escócia. É diferente de Edimburgo. Aqui dá pra perceber uma identidade muito bruta, sem filtro. E para sacar melhor o presente, eu preciso contextualizar para você um pouco do passado. A Irlanda, quando era dominada pelo Reino Unido, passou por uma crise chamada de a Grande Fome na década de 1840. Por conta de uma praga que atingiu as plantações de batatas, os irlandeses encararam 4 anos de miséria extrema, que foram agravados pela negligência do Império Britânico. Cerca de 1 milhão de pessoas morreram, enquanto mais de 1 milhão migrou para outros países. A Escócia se tornou um dos principais destinos, e é fundamental você saber de uma coisa: o Reino Unido é predominantemente de religião protestante. A Irlanda, hoje independente, é conhecida historicamente pela conexão forte com o catolicismo. Esse choque de religiões determinou uma divisão sangrenta na história. Chegando em Glasgow, os irlandeses, em sua maioria católicos, sofreram muito para conseguir empregos e eram tratados como escória da sociedade. Os escoceses protestantes alegavam que os católicos estavam roubando seus empregos. Décadas depois, com a
sempre
independência da
roubando
Irlanda,
empregos,
as
né?
coisas começaram a piorar ainda mais para as famílias irlandesas que viviam em Glasgow.
The National Church of Scotland, the Presbyterian Church, published a report to their General Assembly laying out clearly the menace, and that's the word to use, the menace.
Cara, o sotaque
of the
escocês é uma
Irish race.
loucura.
This is the established church,
Irlandês,
but
não
this was
sei.
the policy of the Church of Scotland to drive the Irish back to Ireland. Forced repatriation of the Irish population. They wanted us out, and that's the racism. And behind that came sectarian actions. Now, you'll be familiar with the famous gang culture of Glasgow, and
Yeah, it was very violent at the time.
yes, and I mean one of the most, is it Billy Fullerton, leader of the Billy Boys?
Caralho, o nome do cara era Billy Fullerton, né? E o nome da gangue dele era Billy Boys. Porra, é muita aura também, né? O nome da gangue do cara é Garotos do Billy. Foda-se. Tipo assim, caralho. Oi, desculpa incomodar, só deixa o like no vídeo e se inscreve no canal que isso vai ajudar bastante, beleza? Tamo junto, desculpa, pode voltar pro vídeo. Valeu!
O período entre a Primeira e Segunda Guerra Mundial foi cruel na Escócia. Vendo os seus pais perdendo empregos e perdendo esperança numa vida melhor, jovens se juntavam em gangues para saquear cidades, rivalizar contra os grupos e muitas vezes proteger suas próprias regiões e bairros. Tô falando ali da década de 20 principalmente. Eles usavam lâminas para atacar os rivais e quanto mais os grupos cresciam, mais forte era o senso de pertencimento a algo. É meio que como se fizesse mais sentido estar vivo. A série britânica Peaky Blinders mostra alguns desses grupos agindo no Reino Unido. Ou seja, não era uma coisa só da Escócia, era meio que geral ali na região. Os Billy Boys eram de origem conservadora e perseguiram irlandeses, que também tinham sua gangue em Glasgow. O líder dos Billy Boys foi por décadas associado a movimentos extremistas e com um discurso de ódio afiado.
He would profess himself to be a racist. He was a member of the Ku Klux Klan. He had this ideology of the white supremacist, which was
Sempre
an
isso aí,
abhorrent
velho.
idea to the Irish diaspora. And don't forget, that was the key driver with the establishment, was to divide the working class. No, divide and rule was a simple mantra of capitalism, and that's what they have within that. And therefore they found this division. Now they called it, initially racism with the Church of Scotland report, then they could expand into sectarian actions, and Billy Fullerton and the Billy Boys following that fascist or neo-fascist sort of ideology of Mosley and the British First Movement or whatever the heck they were called. So they had a target they could isolate, and that being the poor working class
Olha,
Irish.
os irlandeses se fudiam. Eita porra.
Do you, as a local, do you feel this city as a very violent city? Because I read a lot about Glasgow as a violent city, as the most violent city in Europe.
I struggle with that concept of Glasgow. There is violence in any city.
I mean, what I would say, the people of Glasgow are some of the best people you'll meet. Now, we are very straight in terms of...
Duvido que seja metade do que qualquer capital brasileira é. Duvido.
Someone's going about the city and not looking for trouble, generally you don't find that.
Na última década, Glasgow foi eleita a cidade mais perigosa do Reino Unido e uma das mais violentas da Europa. Um documentário da Vice, em 2022, definiu também a cidade como a capital global da cocaína. Em 2018, a Global Drug Survey estudou o uso de drogas por mais de 150 países e concluiu que o usuário em Glasgow cheira o dobro a mais de pó que a média global. Além disso, a pesquisa observou que a cocaína é entregue mais rápido do que pizza na cidade.
Que isso? Aí tem que ver se o serviço de cocaína que tá muito bom ou se o serviço de pizza que tá abaixo da média, né? Dependendo, a culpa não é, tá ligado? Tá mal o cara ali, ó.
Numa cidade onde a faca é tão presente nas brigas, existe uma médica especialista só em cirurgias orais e faciais por razões de violência.
I think the violence has been going on in Glasgow for years. I mean, probably since the 1920s and 30s, it's been quite violent. And I think that's not uncommon in a previously very industrial city that has lost a lot of its industry. So there was a lot of poverty came with losing the shipbuilding industry, for example, which was one of Glasgow's big things.
There used to be here in Glasgow in the past, back in the past, the razor gangs.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Do you still see something similar to this?
Well, not the razor gangs as such, but knives are still the weapon of choice for the vast majority of
Briga de
Glaswegians
faca,
who would
mano.
carry a weapon. We don't have guns here, so guns are not really a problem, and it can be any knife. It can be something out of the kitchen, or it can be something bought from the internet, or sometimes you'll see people running about with swords.
Cara, eu me daria bem lá, né? Quem já viu jogar Resident Evil sabe que eu sou o rei do parry, né? Então eu tenho certeza que na vida real seria tão fácil quanto, né? Claro.
The Glasgow smile is a particular injury that is Glasgow's
Caralho, o do
small business,
Coringa?
but I guess you do see it across the world, where somebody will be cut here up to the ear, and it can be on both sides.
Nossa!
So it gives you definitely a scar, and it makes you look a bit like the Joker from Batman. So that kind of cut up here, you will always have a bad scar from that.
Celtic were playing, and then I had some Rangers fan in the car. So we see some Celtic guys walking along the road. One of the guys was like, "Hey, driver, do you mind to stop? I want to bite that guy's nose and swallow it and put it back."
So I think we have become a bit more normalised to it. We kind of accept it as part of our life, and you just kind of, I suppose, work around it, in terms of keeping yourself safe.
I think it's getting worse, and alcohol is not
Dá
helping
risada,
the
né?
situation. Especially the young people, they are getting younger and younger, and they are violent.
The majority of people that come into hospital with injuries related to violence are from socially deprived areas.
Meu Deus, o cara tá
and
com
there's a big
facão, viado.
inequalities gradient with that. So things like alcohol, drug use, violence are
Nossa,
all
véi.
more likely to affect you if you're socially deprived. There's a big problem with street benzos, so benzodiazepines that are made in people's garage, essentially. There's a big problem with nitazines, which is another drug that's coming onto the market here, which is a synthetic opioid, and then there's the cocaine. But we've also had a background issue here with heroin.
Galera, não tá
Heroin is
legal
just supposed to
Glasgow,
be a bit
velho.
older. But the good thing about heroin is there's an antidote to it, so you can use naloxone to save people.
If someone say, "Oh, it's not violence, it's not violence," it depends who you talk to. It depends who you talk to.
It's not uncommon, and we've just heard somebody shouting and screaming at somebody in the street earlier on, so that's maybe the kind of thing that starts things off. But we all know that there are places that in Glasgow that you wouldn't go at night, that you wouldn't walk alone at night, that you probably just wouldn't go.
Acho que eu não vou estar indo pra Glasgow, não. Vou passar.
Dependendo para qual lado você anda na cidade, é preciso entender com qual dos lados você está se metendo. Os protestantes, que adoram a coroa britânica e o Reino Unido, estão do lado do Rangers. Eu quis conhecer o grupo de ultras que leva a ideologia para frente, e eles toparam conversar com PELEJA, mas com uma condição: os líderes não podem ser mostrados enquanto falam. É uma forma de se proteger numa cidade em que qualquer rosto pode ficar conhecido muito rapidamente.
So the group was set up in 2007 because there was basically a lack of atmosphere at Ibrox, and we were all brought up hearing about these great atmospheres at Rangers and the traditional Rangers end and lots of passion and noise, and it basically, for whatever reason, it just dissipated. So the group was formed to sort of regenerate that atmosphere and bring it back. So obviously we're now 16 years down the line, the group's kind of flourished, and as has the ultra scene in Scotland and in Glasgow. So the new generation are coming through and they want to be involved with groups and scenes like ours.
How do you guys defend yourselves? Like, what is the most common way to protect your boys and your brothers?
Numbers, building yourself and vulnerable.
And how do you get more and more members?
Passando esses dias aqui em Glasgow, ficou muito claro pra mim que existe uma cultura emergente nas ruas e nas arquibancadas. Os ultras. Isso não era comum se você visitasse a região há 10 anos. Os ultras são como a torcida organizada deles, mas vindo de uma cultura escocesa de torcer, o mais próximo que eles tinham no passado era o hooliganismo. Os ultras italianos inspiraram movimentos na Escócia a se organizarem de uma forma nova, se vestindo de preto, usando balaclava, cantando muito mais do que eles cantavam, fazendo festa de um jeito diferente e brigando de um jeito diferente.
Reconheci na voz, esse brother trampa na padoca McTominay. Papo reto.
Em alguns clubes europeus, hoje é até comum o cargo de SLO, que corresponde a um diretor de torcida, mas que trabalha no time, fazendo a ponte com os torcedores.
Nossa, se faz isso aqui no Brasil, dá merda.
Like being transparent. Pyro is not my thing, doesn't bother me, but I can understand why people do it, and that's the biggest thing in an SLO's job. The biggest thing you need to have is empathy and understanding of where people are coming from. So we can't be naive to what the future's going to be at Rangers. I think that this isn't going to go away, and what we need to do is try and make sure that we have a good relationship with the group to make sure that their actions benefit Rangers. And one thing I would say, and I think they want Rangers to be successful.
The schooling thing I think is very important, and it's probably why we were so polarised, because you could stay next door to somebody and you're the exact same age, born on the same day, and when you get to 5, you'll go to the school at that end of the street and you'll go to the school at that end of the street based on whether you're Protestant or Catholic. For me, that's a major part of why my son, for instance, who's part of the group as well, has friends who he's went all the way through school with are all Rangers, because his school friends were all Protestant. I feel if children probably mixed when they were 5, it wouldn't be so polarised, but that's how simple it is. If you're from any area in Glasgow, you instantly know who the Celtic or the Catholics or whatever are.
Pô, dia de clássico o cara não pode ser na rua, velho. Juro por Deus. Bom lembrar que lá ainda tem o clássico em 2 torcidas e em São Paulo não pode. É, pra tu ver, né? Pra tu ver.
Para conhecer o lado verde de Glasgow, eu precisei colar numa luta de boxe, onde os ultras estavam para assistir um deles competir no ringue. Foi importante para eu ganhar a confiança do grupo e conseguir uma entrevista exclusiva
que aleatório.
do PELEJA.
Does the religion like issues too is a big thing, or it's just like it's too?
Yeah, we don't grow up with Rangers fans because they go to separate school. So do you know what I mean? So we don't have it's not a friendly rivalry where you go to different pubs on a match day. We literally have fucking no contact with these people.
Cara, isso é muito louco de fato, né? Porque a escolha do teu time, ela é praticamente uma cultura, literalmente, tá ligado? É como se tu escolhesse teu time baseado na tua religião, literalmente. Ou seja, tu não... Porque, tipo assim, tu tá desde criança numa escola que tá na tua religião. Tu não convive com pessoas de outro time, porque todos os teus amigos são daquela religião e logo torcem pro mesmo time que tu. É realmente uma loucura, mano. Tipo, é uma rivalidade de futebol e de religião ao mesmo tempo. É de fato uma doideira completa.
Like, do you know what I mean? So there is a total separation. There's a bit of dehumanization there, because do you know what I mean? We don't know them personally.
It's like my girls go to school just now, but every one of her friends are Catholic, and she goes to school with them 5 days a week, and Catholic, and goes. You wouldn't even.
Their dads all be Celtic fans.
Their dads are all Celtic fans, and it's just generation. Her dad's pals with her dads, and we drink together. They drink together. We go to birthday parties. We all go to birthday parties together. It's just the way it is.
It's a very divided city.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Mano, é uma cidade literalmente 50-50, assim, sei lá, 50-50, mas tipo assim, não tem como voltar atrás.
They fucking hate us. Protestant fucking dogs. Lay down and grunt. My wife say, you stop fighting. And I say, fuck you. I fight. Simple. He's a fucking animal.
I stay in the Catholic area, and let's say I do like Rangers. I wouldn't side up in it. I wouldn't dare side up in it. I wouldn't even wear the blue shirt.
Attention. An emergency situation has arisen within the stadium. Please leave the stadium in an orderly manner by the nearest available exit.
E é claro que a rivalidade religiosa também é encontrada nas arquibancadas. Afinal, é lá onde o povo sempre esteve. clássico de 2006, por exemplo, o goleiro Boruk, do Celtic, resolve se virar para a torcida do Rangers antes do jogo e começa a fazer o sinal da cruz, um símbolo, claro, associado ao catolicismo.
Caralho, doidão!
Nos dias seguintes, o goleiro foi advertido por atentado contra a paz, e a Igreja Católica da Escócia emitiu um comunicado se revoltando com a punição a um sinal da cruz.
Obviously in the 90s you had Paul Gascoigne playing the flute and stuff, which is
Loucura, velho.
like the Orange Order. That's all that stuff before my time, like, do you know what I mean? But the Arthur Boric one, he done the same every match. He turned towards the goal and blessed himself. But that game obviously it was seen as, I'm pretty sure he was cautioned by the police, which that gives you the argument that why we still need our own separate fucking schools, because cautioned by the police for blessing yourself, that's just...
Police cautioned them and said they could have caused a riot for doing something you're religious beliefs, so bless yourself. You go to Spain, Brazil, Argentina, Portugal, every player scores a goal probably blesses themselves 90% of it after the game. But he's caused a riot.
That particular player, it's no, you could write a book on the shit he did, do you know what I mean? But and that somehow people remember and bless themselves, so he done every game anyway, do you know what I mean?
O IRA, ou IRA, mencionado pelo lado verde, é o Exército Republicano Irlandês, um conjunto de diversos grupos paramilitares irlandeses que nos séculos 20 e 21 lutaram contra a influência e a presença britânica na Irlanda. Algumas canções da torcida do Celtic citam o grupo armado e foram proibidas por autoridades britânicas. A torcida do Rangers também tem os seus cantos que remetem ao passado. Em uma delas, o assovio dos Billy Boys, lembra aquela gangue protestante famosa? É reproduzido em alguns duelos contra o Celtic. E esse canto também é proibido e já rendeu punições ao Rangers.
Caralho, velho.
I don't think the Billy Boys were anything different for pretty much 10, 20, 30 other gangs in Glasgow. It's just they were immortalised in a song, and that's because it was the Protestant area and stuff. That song's remained, but very few people singing the song probably know half of the background to it or whatever. It's became a Rangers anthem.
It's tribal. I'd say, you know, people love singing it in the big days, especially against Celtic, because they know it offends Celtic, as they hate it, and they want it, you know, it means something on that day.
Everything in Glasgow's tribal. Everything.
Que
Everything's
loucura,
broke
velho.
down to green and blue. It doesn't matter. It could be the smallest issue, and it'll come down to...
A cab driver told me, like, if we put like a McDonald's flag, the Celtic guys will pull a Burger King flag.
Cesaro, what that area? Perfect analogy.
Que loucura, velho. Viado, vou te falar, difícil que tenha uma rivalidade maior do que essa, mano. Porque, tipo assim, é uma rivalidade que transcende completamente o futebol. Mano, é muito difícil tu ter amigos que torçam pro outro time, literalmente, mano. Por causa de criação, o caralho é 4, porque tu não convive. É uma loucura, pô. É muito doido essa porra aqui de fato, cara.
Esses dois clubes testam novos limites a cada década. Em setembro de 2016, Chris Boyd, ex-jogador muito conectado ao Rangers, anunciou que o seu irmão havia cometido suicídio. Poucos dias depois, rolou um derby com um incidente no mínimo polêmico. Bonecos de torcedores do Rangers eram vistos enforcados e pendurados por parte da torcida do Celtic. O momento do incidente...
Caralho, doidão.
Junto com a natureza delicada da morte do Scott Boyd, levaram a uma condenação generalizada.
See when you see the photos, it looked fucking sinister. Do you know what I mean? It did, but it wasn't.
It's quite iconic. Nobody released what Chris Boyd's brother died behind his cell or something like that. So
para.
That weekend, apparently, or that day or the day before was fucking World Suicide Day. Nobody knew that. Do you know what I mean? So that was totally fucking. Who knows when World Suicide Day is? Let's be honest. Nobody. Everybody's minds were on the game. Do you know what I mean? And then that happens, and then the aftermath, somebody says it's fucking. That was World Suicide Day. And I went, oh, for fuck's sake. When everybody was just...
I made a blip here.
And a lot of us were arrested and stuff. I mean,
Banner, there was lyrics for a song as well.
That's great. I don't think that was actually lost Chris Boyd. I think that was just Rangers fans in general. But
it's another case of probably Rangers and Celtic fans pointing things out and trying to highlight things that they weren't.
I personally don't mind it. For me, that doesn't offend me in the slightest. Different times, there's probably different limits. It's hard because Ibrox is very, very well covered by CCTV. If you're setting up tifos and stuff that are openly sectarian, then the guys here who are doing a lot of the tifo work are opening themselves up to charges.
If anybody had like a sort of openly sectarian message or massive banner, I think, like, I mean, we've seen it for smaller things where the country goes into meltdown, social media's like just mental. Headline news, politicians like at the highest level getting involved, and the police just sort of arresting anybody they can sort of identify or think maybe he's associated with it. They're targeting the members who are at the crux of the group. They're targeting
Será que já tem alguém que jogou nos dois?
Leading members or very involved with the tifos or very involved with merchandising or on the streets all the time. So they target the guys because they're low-hanging fruit. They're easy to nab for it, and you know, hinders the group long term, which is what they want effectively. So for us to leave ourselves in that position, we leave ourselves open to them just basically going, right, we'll have him, and slowly but surely the group can't operate maybe successfully within the ground and within the stadiums than it did.
Com o tempo, a religião e o sectarismo em si foram dando lugar a outra discordância histórica de dois povos que moram na mesma cidade, a política. Na torcida do Celtic, é muito comum ver bandeiras e cores que remetem à Irlanda. No lado do Rangers, é o orgulho de ser parte do Reino Unido e até retratos da monarquia dentro do vestiário do time.
It was a gift to us. We took part in a benefit match for a cholera disaster, which was a number of years ago. And so all of the English clubs who took part, all the English clubs were gifted a cup for it. And so they gave us one too because we helped. So it was given to us on the one proviso, which is that every year we toast the reigning monarch of the UK. So that's traditional, is part of the club. And I think the picture of the Queen that was put up in the 1980s, and now obviously it's changed to King Charles, though we've kept the picture of Queen Elizabeth up as well. And I think the Rangers always tried to do the right thing. At least that's the perception that we have as a fan base around what we are. You know, that obviously knowing that the conversation you'll have with people across the city, I'm sure they'll have a very different take on it.
Caralho.
Why would you feel the need to display your anti-monarchy credentials in such a graphic, public and clearly an offensive manner?
Que loucura, velho.
There's probably the most Celtic fans would believe that than any other club, I would say, in Britain. You know, that it's time to move on from a monarchy. And speaking as myself, you know, I'm not a monarchist myself, I don't believe in it. I believe in democracies. We've got a constitutional democracy here. I just see it's a foreign system for a long time. You know,
Cara, algum jogo hoje no Amazon Prime?
System. We should be looking at, you know, electing our head of state.
The Rangers fans see themselves as the quintessential British football club, and I don't think very many would disagree with that. They've always been behind the UK, they've always been behind the royal family, and anybody in the world, when the Queen died, didn't show respect is lacking in manners, in my opinion. The woman was so well liked at Rumble, probably the greatest Britain of all time. She transcended the whole world.
I keep using the word theatre, and without trying, I know we don't want to insult our teams and we're talking about Celtic here, but Rangers are the experts at fucking theatre. Like, there was all this mourning, do you know what I mean? There's like a big black cloud that came over them. They had no connection to this woman, do you know what I mean? But they were mourning her like a fucking, like their own grandmother, man. It was strange, right? So I would say we reacted because we could see the ridiculous of the situation. It's not like anybody hated her, nobody gave a fuck about the Queen. And we still don't care about the monarch.
I'd say 90% of the UK don't give a fuck about it.
No, that's it. So I would say that the more people got offended by it, the fucking more
we done it.
Because the whole ridiculousness of the ridiculousness of the whole situation.
Fuck, you had Piers Morgan on commenting. Piers Morgan on commenting. These Celtic fans, what the fuck they say no?
even better that people got offended.
But and honestly, they tell you one thing, keep politics out of football and all this, but they want to stop football for the Queen dying and this and that. Why? Where the fuck's the Queen dying going to do with a 3 o'clock kick-off on a Saturday? Because all the guys got to that game don't give a fuck about the Queen, let's be honest. So 70% of Glasgow was probably protesting against it and slating it. It was just a weird setup, the whole thing was weird.
A discordância visceral sobre a monarquia e sobre ser ou não parte do Reino Unido,
Cara, é muito
de tempos
louco
em
isso,
tempos se apresenta democrática. O governo escocês já organizou vários referendos para que a população vote pela independência ou não da Escócia. O último, que aconteceu em 2014, teve o seguinte resultado: 55% são contra a independência, 45% votaram a favor. Falando mais especificamente de Glasgow, essa é uma cidade onde historicamente o sim para a independência é o que vence. Mas como é o país inteiro que decide, a Escócia seguiu sendo, claro, parte do Reino Unido.
I'm a unionist by nature, so I voted to stay as
Então
a
aqui ficou claro, né?
People voted to separate us, not enough. And in my opinion,
Qual a torcida maior?
How do you guys feel about the result?
Disappointed, hurt, still angry. We knew we were being lied to. There was a lot of propaganda. British propaganda is what you call it, because a lot of the stuff they promised, particularly a lot of older people in Scotland to dupe them, has now been shown to be completely false.
The main promise for the No campaign was to stay in the EU. As soon as we voted for No for independence, we came straight out of the EU.
There's guys who have been members of UB who have come from different political backgrounds in terms of party. So the party politics are very different. But one thing we are very much aligned on, we're all Unionists.
I don't know if you could actually be part of it. I don't know if you could be part of the group and have being such a polarised issue and be on the other side.
Eita porra, cadeirada.
Can understand their anger, right? So see everything that maybe their dads and their grandfathers and stuff have held dear for years. So it was the best jobs, the best housing, everything. It's like the world's moved on and they've been left behind. So you can understand that anger. They're clinging on to something. It's an idea that doesn't exist in reality anymore.
I would say I'm pessimistic about it. I was optimistic even after the referendum in 2014, but you know there's a ferry fiasco here. For a lot of people that were pro-independence and also from the left-wing tradition, people are wondering, well, who's it to vote for? For normally working class people that see that an independent Scotland has been the future. But, you know, there's two parties that are very much centrist, centre-left a wee bit, but not, you know, socialist or radical left that we've seen here with Jeremy Corbyn, with the Labour Party in Britain. They're nowhere near that. So working class people are saying, well, why are we going to vote for these parties when they're not going to actually represent working class people?
I think the Celtic fans, be polite about it, they're just ambulance chasers. It doesn't matter what they do, they're fighting a cause, Palestinian cause. I swear to God, who cares? You stay in Glasgow, who cares about another country? You know what I mean? And I'd imagine most of them couldn't even tell you what Palestine is, to be honest with you. I can't go this nonsense politics. You're a Rangers fan or a Celtic fan, support your team. Leave all the rest at your house. If you don't like something, fair enough, but don't bring it to the stadium.
Grupo como os Boys e a Green Brigade sempre apoiaram a Palestina nos jogos do Celtic e aproveitaram jogos importantes da Champions League, por exemplo, para se manifestarem, mesmo que isso resulte em punições por parte da UEFA. E o tema é tão importante para eles que chegaram até a romper uma amizade de muitos anos com a torcida progressista do São Paulo, já que os alemães não se posicionaram a favor dos palestinos nos últimos anos. A Green Brigade do Celtic lançou a campanha Show Israel the Red Card, ou Mostre o Cartão Vermelho a Israel, em apoio ao povo palestino e para pedir a suspensão de Israel de competições internacionais. O gesto inspirou torcedores ao redor do mundo e muitas arquibancadas aderiram ao movimento. Em um derby de 2025, que marcou o fim da medida da torcida única no clássico, torcedores do Rangers receberam os do Celtic com algumas mensagens bem diretas. Bandeiras de Israel e os dizeres na arquibancada Take aim against the rebels come, algo como apontem ou mirem contra a escória rebelde. Esses termos pejorativos eram muito utilizados no passado e direcionados aos irlandeses que se rebelavam politicamente. O próprio Rangers, como clube, chegou a emitir um comunicado condenando a exibição e reconhecendo que ela cruzou a linha e foi inaceitável. A polícia escocesa também chegou a abrir uma investigação sobre esse incidente.
Well, the formation of Celtic was a critical act. You know, it was through necessity. We had to put food in the tables of the poor East End of Glasgow. So we are, and we always feel when you go to Celtic Park, you'll see refugees welcome banners. You know, we're the club. If you're coming to Scotland, you're an immigrant, you'll be made to feel welcome at Celtic. Because of what's happening in society, we're the club of the people. So we're going to be, not all left wing, but the majority of fans more towards the left.
I think, personally, Celtic and Rangers are light years behind where they should be. The clubs themselves, for a long time, they tried to ignore, let the groups and the ultra groups and stuff, so I think they're still maybe 5-6 years behind where they should be. They should have brought everybody in-house a long time ago, probably the way the Dutch done, and they brought everybody inside and they made them work with the club, and let's find a common ground here. Celtic and Rangers, I would argue, are starting to do that now. No younger people are going to the game and wanting to sit in the main stand and watch the fucking game. You know, people want to participate in the game, no spectate. So that's the way it's going now, do you know what I mean? So the club need to cater for that demand, and they should be selling it, because the product on the park in Scotland, on the pitch, is not going to sell. So see if you can create something that you can sell. We'll talk about this in the way the language they want to use. They want to sell a product, so you use your strengths. Aye. So take the good parts, fucking make them even better.
Eita porra.
Mudam as gerações e a divisão na cidade parece permanecer a mesma. Para tentar
não tem o que fazer, na real,
o sectarismo e o ódio entre as torcidas, os dois clubes criaram em 2005 o Old Firm Alliance, uma série de iniciativas focadas principalmente na conscientização de crianças e jovens de Glasgow. O problema é que aquela geração do início dos anos 2000 cresceu e parece não ter sido tão impactada pelo programa. Em 2025, por exemplo, torcedores do Rangers zombaram da morte do Papa Francisco, a maior figura católica no planeta. A segregação que vinha desde séculos passados, com casos como o do jogador Mo Johnston na década de 80, o primeiro católico na história a jogar pelo Rangers e que sofreu até ameaça de morte, parece ter apenas se adaptado a pautas atuais. Isso faz alguns torcedores também entrarem numa guerra de narrativa, tentando achar culpados nesse contexto todo.
Celtic have caused all the divide, all the divide. We weren't formed for any religious background. Celtic were. There's a story was, I'm not even sure if it's true, the local priest told the Catholic players they couldn't play for Rangers, that they could play for Celtic because they were the Catholic club. And if that's fine, that's fair enough, but just admit it. Don't pretend you're something you aren't.
Who profits from these divisions? The working class family that goes to Ibrox, that struggles to put a roof over their head and feed their children, and if they win they can say, yeah, we beat you. Do they well, perhaps, maybe they get a bit of joy out of that. Or in this stadium, the family who struggle to beat Rangers, yeah, they get a bit of joy out of that. But who actually profits? Who gets the money out of this division? And it's quite clear. There are two big institutions in Glasgow. Glasgow Rangers, Glasgow Celtic. It's part of their business model to enhance their profits, as long as there is division.
Caralho, olha aí.
All over the world that have great rivalries in their football clubs. Massive crowds turn up, but they don't have this racist sectarian division.
See at the papers next week, plenty of stabbings, slashings, hospitals all over the city. The police can't man up because Celtic pubs here, Rangers pubs there, Celtic pubs, so it's fights all over the city. Do you know what I mean? It could happen in just in a split second.
Ficar em casa quando tem, né, cara?
This is just general supporters after, you know what I mean, after a night out, they'll maybe bump into each other at a taxi queue, for example, and there could be a fight, that's it.
I think that's the reason why you guys are here, because it is a very special rivalry. The derby's probably slightly different to other ones where, you know, it's like hatred from the age of 5 like upwards, and like it's like families fall out about it or split because of it. Your schools, they're very much split, and your political background is split because of a religious, of course, side of things. It's very different to just two clubs who hate each other. It's not just football. There is all this centuries of sort of a background to this, where it's not just two football teams. It's not two sides of 11 players on the park playing football against each other. There is a lot more context to it. And I wouldn't change that, because I think that's what makes it so special.
Antes de ser Celtic ou Rangers, em Glasgow você é outras coisas. Para se entender a profundidade de algumas torcidas no mundo, é preciso passar por camadas complexas antes. Na Escócia, os anos vão se passar e as pautas talvez se adaptem à sociedade. O ódio, não. Esse nunca se adapta, nunca se transforma. O ódio não tem compromisso com as novas eras. Se você estiver de um lado, eu sempre vou estar do outro.
Caralho, olha a passadola que esse moleque tomou. Cara, a grande real é que essa é uma situação irreversível, pô. É irreversível, pô. Não tem o que fazer, tá ligado? Não tem o que fazer.